Hello people, it's that time again. It's time for another book review, and this time we're looking at Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman, if you know who he is, or if you don't know who he is, he's more of a graphic novel writer more than a novel writer. He writes graphic novels, and he's written episodes of Doctor Who and things like that. He's always been, in my opinion, a brilliant writer. He did a book with Terry Pratchett, Good Omens, which was turned into an Amazon TV series as well. And this is basically, he takes Norse mythology, the Norse myths, and makes them accessible. He uses language that's easy to get into. So obviously, if you're reading the actual source material that he used to write this, I dare say it will be a lot more complicated, a lot more complex. It's a bit more involved. So what he's done here is he's taken those myths, those stories, and he's turned them into easily accessible, digestible stories. And Norse mythology is funny. It's wise, it's moving, it's a very unique set of mythology in its own right. You've got all the different characters, Odin, Thor, all those Loki, all those characters you might be familiar with if you watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe or read the comics. All those characters are in there, along with a variety of others. You've got giants and warlords and wizards and all different kind of things going on. It's very, very interesting to read, very interesting to see the actual original take on these characters. Whereas if you watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thor isn't what he's perceived to be in the actual mythology. In the mythology, he's actually quite dim, and he's handsome, yes, but he's not very clever, he's not very bright. Whereas the Thor we see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's a lot more clever than the Thor in the actual source material. It's very, very, yeah, it's very interesting to read, particularly when you see parallels between the Norse mythology, and modern religions like Christianity, for example. For instance, Odin, who's the father of the gods, sacrificed himself on Yggdrasil, which is a tree that encompasses the 9 worlds, and he did that to gain all the knowledge in the universe. So it's all very, very fascinating to read and to see the parallels between mythology and the actual Christianity that we know and love today, that we know and people know and worship today. And it's interesting to see what aspects has been taken out and put into Christianity, and what aspects have been dropped, etc., etc. The Norse myths state that warriors, this is why the Vikings were so brutal and so ferocious in their fighting, because they worshipped Norse gods. To die and to go to Valhalla and drink unlimited mead, which, funnily enough, comes from a giant cow on the roof of the hall of Valhalla, which, instead of milk coming out of its udders, has mead. But let's not get into that. It gets very wacky, very weird, very, very funny. But to go to Valhalla, you have to die nobly in battle. You have to die gloriously in battle and not be a coward. If you don't die in battle, you go to the purgatory world. So this is why Vikings were very, very ferocious historically ferocious in their fighting, and how they carried themselves. They believed that if they died in battle, they would die glorious. So it's very interesting to read. Go ahead and read it. That was Neil Gaiman, Norse Mythology. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.